It was February 2019, and he was standing actually in this kitchen, and he was obviously smaller, and he looked up to talk to me, and I noticed something on his neck, and I'm like, that's weird, but it was a lump, and I was like, oh, all right. I wasn't immediately scared. He was fine. He had no other symptoms other than the lump. They said, let's just do a round of antibiotics and see from there. Blood work came back fine, did another round of antibiotic. And after that, there was still a small lump. They did a needle biopsy, and they actually took 2 samples, and the one they got back pretty immediately, and they were like, no, this looks okay. It was Halloween, and he was over in the living room with his friends. I'm like, all right, boys, let me take some pictures. And I looked at the side of his neck. I'm like, oh my God, this is really big. So we went in, and the minute I walked in with him and he saw the same doctor, I could see in his doctor's face that it was like, super concerned, like the color left his face. He was like, this has to come out. And he started to throw out the terms Hodgkin lymphoma. Actually, he mentioned, he said one of the greatest hockey players, Mario Lemieux, had Hodgkin lymphoma. It was a very quick surgery. It was an hour. He came out immediately, and he was like, listen, came right out. I was like, oof, I was so relieved. He's like, but I'm sending it naturally to Robert Wood to be biopsied. It was January 6th, 2021, and the day was a regular day. And then I remember coming downstairs after I was finished working and I had to start dinner. All my friends are texting, oh my God, look what's going on at the Capitol. I remember turning the TV on and getting the phone call saying it's confirmed that it's Hodgkin lymphoma. I just remember going like numb. And I'm like, Franco, and he knew the possibility of cancer was there. I said, it's Hodgkin lymphoma. It's the same cancer as Mario Lemieux. And he was like, okay, I have to go to hockey practice. So Mom, we'll talk about it later. And him and my husband walked out the door and they went to hockey practice. I got on the phone with Memorial Sloan that night and made the appointment. That was a Wednesday night. Friday morning, he was seen, and we went, right into it. And they acted pretty immediate with him.
Definitely a very tough phone call to get. Like my wife said, it changed your world very quickly.
I went through 4 rounds of chemo, and it was rough. It was the worst part of it was waking up, you're done with it, right? You're done with the day. You get to go to bed, but you got to do the same thing the next day and then the next day. So it was just so repetitive. And it was rough emotionally. I didn't cry or anything, but I was just I don't know, sort of depressed.
No one could come visit because of COVID. He was under he couldn't have anybody near him. Cancer is this terrible diagnosis, but you're diagnosed with cancer in the middle of a pandemic. And it's like people want to help and reach out, but they can't physically be there. I remember at one point he was in surgery and I thought I was going to pass out. And I was just so overwhelmed. And I remember the nurse sat me down and, they kind of take care of Mom too, because, you're in the hospital 12, 13 hours. I was by myself. He's in surgery, it was very overwhelming. My heroes were the doctors and the nurses and the fellows and everybody who was in there who were helping him and getting me through my day. I think of many parents when I was in Sloan looking around like, this is a big hardship because there is no, I'm calling my boss, he's out sick one day. This is no one day. I can't imagine what people do when they don't have insurance or their insurance is terrible and they can't really do this. And Mom's not working now because she has to take care of this child. Financially, they lose everything. Your mortgage has to be paid. Your lights still need to be turned on. You still have to put food in the refrigerator. The electric company doesn't care, if your kid has cancer, they want their money. When you really sit down and think about it, it's crazy. And I kind of geared myself toward dealing with him medically. And my husband took he dealt with it where all of a sudden he was telling people what was happening with him. And it spread all over social media, and the hockey world reached out to him. Youth hockey programs came out and just sent him a gift, a card, an email, a message. And then all of a sudden we're getting this video with The Rock or Ken Daneyko or Anders Lee or something. And we're like, oh my God, this is amazing that all of these people are going out of their way to really just wish him well. And that was really special. I have to say that.
The videos from the people helped a lot. It really helps you get through it. You're so down on everything. You got nothing. All you have is going to the doctors and everything. But with all the support, it does like give you like a boost.
So thank you so much for joining Melissa and I for our Spotlight series. So what our goal is to create this virtual roundtable discussion that's going to be focused on social impact and hopefully educate and inspire some viewers with stories and hearing from people like Franco and his mom.
Hi. I just want to thank you, first of all, for having us. I'm Jennifer. I'm Franco's mom. Yeah, this has been a journey, and it's Megan and I were talking about it the other day, and I said it's just never ending when you have a child who's diagnosed with cancer. It's a forever diagnosis. It just doesn't go away. He has a 78% chance that he'll never have cancer again. You know, that leaves only a 22% chance that it might. Anytime he has any sort of ailment, my heart sinks into my stomach really quickly because I'm like, okay, what am I watching out for? He was so asymptomatic the first time. You may not get a second chance.
Obviously, a cancer diagnosis is extremely isolating, and Franco was diagnosed during COVID, so even more separated with the world on lockdown. Each of you have been invited on because you have been involved in helping him along the journey. So I thought it'd be nice for you to meet him.
Hello, my name is George Parros. I work for the National Hockey League. I do all of the supplementary discipline. I'm the head of the Department of Player Safety. We're trying to keep everybody safe and keep a certain level of physicality in the game, but that's kind of what I've dedicated my life to since I've been done playing. But I used to play hockey myself. I always say I played 9 more years than I thought I would. I played 9 years in the NHL. Just a sliver of what Mr. Daneyko has done in his career, but we're both fortunate to work in the sport that we love. And now Kenny gets to yell at me when I make poor decisions.
George, yes, I have a much easier job than you right now. All I have to do is talk about the games and stuff. This is Kenny Daneyko. Pleasure to be on with all you guys. Member of the New Jersey Devils organization. This is coming on my 40th year, whether as a player in the organization in some capacity. All I wanted to do is play one game in the National Hockey League at some point when I was a teenager, and lo and behold, I'm a transplanted Jerseyan here, do the broadcast, color commentating for the Devils, work for NHL Network, analyzing the season as well, which I really enjoy.
First of all, it is a true pleasure to be a part of this. I don't know if you want to call it working with Meg or hanging out and playing hockey and meeting all these incredible families. A little about me, I played only 11 years in the NHL. Now, I'm Canadian. I grew up loving the sport, as you do, coming from there, and I really do believe it's the best sport on the planet, and it really, the tools that I've gotten while playing have really contributed to my life now as an actor, and I love, what I do and being able to tell stories and provoke and hopefully, bring people on a journey, and I love it. I think this is honestly a perk to what I get to do is do these games, meet these people, and everybody that's been a part of this has been nothing but amazing. And I can't wait to get back to that rink in New York and
I know
maybe not start anything with those guys, but just skate around and be with the families and be with those kids. It's a day I truly look forward to.
We do a Face Off to Fight Cancer event. So George, Ken Taylor, they all come in and play. It's so easy to help. If people can just pause for 2 minutes of their day and film a message or reach out, it means so much to the people on the receiving end.
I'm just thrilled to be on this phone call right now and seeing, Franco, you get through what you've gone through and come out on the other end so far. I'm glad to hear that we can do something like this right now for you.
I always say, I was grateful to be part of 3 Stanley Cup championship teams, and you always have that burning desire to win. And when you leave the game as a player, what's next? How are you going to fill that passion, that void? And I say this sincerely, if you can give back a little bit and just help out, whether it's causes, whether it's guys like Franco and getting recognition, just to continue to raise funds and everything else. And I'm glad to see that he's doing pretty good right now. He looks great. And and certainly just being involved when you can in the community certainly is something that has meant a lot. I'm lucky to give back the little bit we can whenever we can. So thank you so much for having me involved, Megan.
You know, to add to what those guys have talked about, you really kind of, as much as we say we're giving back and whatnot, but you really leave these moments and have these opportunities and you leave it inspired, you know. And Franco, you really do kind of encompass that strength, and I'm inspired by your journey. I have no idea what it takes to go through that, but if we can contribute in any way, I mean, we're all ears and we're all there for you, and it's so awesome to finally meet you.
My name is Jamey Crimmins. I've worked as a sports marketing agent my entire career. 2014, I'm running in the New York City Marathon. I have to raise money for Sloan Kettering anyway. I go to a family reunion and kids are playing Can Jam. And if you don't know the game, it's a Frisbee game like cornhole. I buy a set and I get the idea to have a tournament in my backyard and raise money. And we raised $14,000 and we thought it was great. We did 3 local events, and shortly after that, I had been talking to Anders Lee, captain of the Islanders. Anders called me and said, "Hey, how's your event go? Can we do a Cancer Jam event?" And we did our first event in the Barclays Center after one of the Islander games, and every single player showed up. Shortly before the event, Anders Lee wrote a column in the Players Tribune, and one of the first people that made a donation was a guy by the name of George Parros. George, I don't know if you remember that, but I appreciate that going back to 2016. But because of Anders doing an event, then Kevin Shattenkirk from the Rangers wanted to do one. And it was Kevin Shattenkirk who called me and said, "Hey, I heard about this kid in New Jersey, a hockey player named Franco. Can we help him out?" I said, "Sure." So started doing the research and met Jen, his mom, and talked to her and said, "Hey, we have this foundation and we try to help families affected by cancer. We'll give you money, but what else can we do to help you?" And it was, okay, if anything, to lift the kid's spirits, because you used the word isolating. And when you're hit with the lightning bolt that is a cancer diagnosis, that becomes your world.
It really all started with my own team. Obviously they all, they knew about it. And then word got out to the president of USA Hockey in Colorado, across everywhere, messages. In New Jersey, many teams wear Franco's ribbon on the back of their helmets with his number. From there, NHL players reached out, and I think those messages at night helped him out, because he would go to sleep and he'd watch the messages at night before he went to sleep. And he knew that we're all behind him, but all these guys look up to, all these pro guys, and are behind him as well.
I saw some of the videos that you guys did that sent to Franco, and what those did is temporarily took him out of that world and let him see the world beyond cancer. And Anders Lee was one of the guys that sent a video to Franco and kind of befriended him. And a funny story, Anders writes Franco's name on a stick in a game in early March up in Buffalo. I knew Franco would be watching the game. Anders plays, Anders scores. 2 games later, Anders tears his ACL. Day after that, I get a video from Franco to send to Anders. "Hey, I'm sorry you're going through some tough times. I heard about your knee. Good luck with your surgery."
He was like one of the first videos. And then once he started writing his name, writing my name on his stick, and then when he scored the goal, it just I don't know, it felt, because I've done it for kids too, write their names on my stick, went out there and played for them. And it was cool, because an NHL player was playing in honor of me.
I think that helped Franco a lot too, is that the mindset of a hockey player. There is no end until it's over. You keep battling no matter what. Until that buzzer rings, you keep playing hard. So we always said, all right, first round of chemo, we got to tap, we got to battle, we get through it. And we just battle about it. And then next round, third round, fourth round, and we just kept going and going and going. Instead of just sitting back saying, okay, kind of give up type of thing. Right. There was no giving up. There was no option for that. But as a hockey player, that's how we're built. We battle to the end, and our guys on a bench are with us all the way.
Franco, do you want to talk about what life has been like since you got the 1 year, celebrated the 1 year of remission this past summer?
Yeah, it's been pretty great. I got to go back on the ice with my hockey boys, and we won a few championships, and it just got me back in.
Stepped right into a championship, eh, bud?
Awesome.
Not so bad.
Well, obviously, I'm gonna have my tournament again. And the donation is going to go to you, Jamey, because, you know, you're like my partner in business. But yeah, so I just like to, you know, do what I love. And if I could raise money for the kids that are going through a tough time, doing what I love, that's great, you know? It's great.
Fantastic.
So I love it. Tell me a little bit about your tournament, Franco. What's going on there?
It's usually, last year we had 4 or 5 teams in each division, and you play 3 games to start, and then you have the semifinals. We played against Jamey's son's team. We lost in overtime, but it was still a fun game.
You're playing the sport you love while giving back to the people that like supported you. It's like a win-win. And then, you know, we didn't win because I wanted to like give the Union Thunder like a confidence boost, you know.
Let that data hang in there.
Yeah, let them have it. Yeah.
Awesome. I don't think you're allowed to win your own tournament anyway, so that's okay.
That's what I told him, and he wasn't happy about it.
Didn't you swing by there, Ken?
Yes.
I think you made an appearance.
In Secaucus, yes.
I think that's the best thing about hockey. Like, as everybody knows, and we all play, even Alyssa plays, like, it's the camaraderie and the locker room. I mean, they keep you humble.
Just an amazing sport. And I just love hearing Franco, you know, he's back on the ice, back with the boys. And there's nothing that, I think that's the thing, you know, I'm sure Ken and Parros can add to this, of just the one thing you kind of miss the most is that friendship and those bonds, you know, because it changes once you leave the game. But you do forge and cultivate those relationships that do last forever. And really that's what it's about, you know, that community and just relying on everyone. And there's just a trust there as well that you kind of forge on the ice that carries through life. But I want to know, what position are you, Franco?
I'm a center and a winger.
Yes.
What organization are you playing for, Franco? Or who's your organization?
Patriots.
The Patriots?
Secaucus, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I grew up in Jersey. I grew up in Randolph and played for the Colonials. And obviously, Kenny spent more time in Jersey than any of us.
I met Ken for the first time when I was like 9.
Megan, since then, I have gotten much older. And when we get this game together again, I am moving a lot slower. So I'm not going to be able to keep up with Taylor and George anymore. But Franco, you play in that half indoor-outdoor rink sometimes in Secaucus?
Yeah, we start up in like October. We get our rink back.
Let me pay Franco a little bit of a compliment, because I want you guys to understand how that tournament came to be. Franco returns to the ice. He gets a clean bill of health. And that tournament came together pretty quickly, and we had a bunch of teams, and we raised $25,000. And Franco did an interview, and he talked about how I want to help other hockey players. So we kind of tried to keep that money available to hockey families. So because of Franco, there are 2 kids in New Jersey whose dad is very sick with cancer and family's in a bit of a financial strait, and they were going to have to give up playing hockey. And now they don't. Okay. And that's because of Franco. We covered their tuition. There's another family whose dad is very ill, 2 goalies in the family. We allocated some money for them. Dad used it to buy the 2 boys brand new goalie equipment. So those kids are skating this year and they're wearing brand new goalie equipment. Again, because a 12-year-old kid decided to do this. And then he hears about Ben Stelter, the little boy who became the Edmonton Oilers kind of chaperone or mascot, if you will. And he wanted to have another hockey game. And so we put together, my son's team got together against his team. We did it as a fundraiser. We raised money and we sent money up to the Stelter family, because a 12-year-old kid appreciated everything that all of you guys did for him and wanted to pay it forward. And it's just that simple. I think that people inherently want to do good, and particularly athletes and particularly hockey players who are the best people on the planet. They need to find a way to do it. And the more examples that people like Franco set, the better off we're going to be.
Franco has been an inspiration to a lot of people. And at this point, he wants to give back.
You're just incredible what Franco and everybody's doing, and get, you know, going through what you go through, and then right away, without question, without any questions, want to pay it forward, as they say, and continue to help others that go through the same thing along the way. I just want to give Taylor a little bit of a compliment here for a second, okay? Because he loves the game of hockey, and me and my wife will be watching a series or TV, and we'll see Taylor Kitsch on there, and we'll go, "Hey, we know that guy. You know, that's pretty cool." And I say, and he's not that bad at hockey either. So you want him on your team because he can dangle a little bit. I bet you, like Franco.
He plays more than we ever did right now.
Right, absolutely, George.
Yeah. Ken, I've seen you play at. I mean, you jump on with the Coast Guard charity games and the Port Authority PD. I see your name everywhere.
That is strictly just from my lack of scoring in my career. So I like to get out there and try to score a lot of goals and charitable.
I don't know if you guys have been to those games. Those firemen and police games, those are nastier than any NHL game ever played.
Those guys compete. They play hard. You're right.
And then a funny story with George. So just to kind of take it away a little bit, he has actually come to Ronald McDonald House. We did something, was it literally right before the pandemic hit? It was one of the last events we did before everything shut down. And he came with so much NHL paraphernalia. Like it was like a George Parros pop-up store. I was so overwhelmed. It was like sweatshirts and hats. Kids were trying on the ring. And I mean, it was just above and beyond. And then he stayed and he served dinner to the kids and families, which I don't think he intended to do, but Nellie put him behind the counter. It's good to be able to, and part of why we had the call is because when you do these things, sometimes it's just nice to meet the kids and be out there and have some FaceTime.
Hey, Megan, I want to know, and Taylor, I bet wants to know too, how did a guy like George, during his career, one of the toughest players that ever played, I think graduate Princeton and go on to a great after hockey career, and as intelligent as he is. And I'm giving you a compliment, George.
Are these sounding like compliments?
Backhanded compliments,
Very left-handed ones.
Yeah, like I said, I grew up in New Jersey playing hockey, and when I was growing up, it wasn't the hockey hotbed of the world. The Devils and Ken started winning championships when I was in my teens, and it became more popular. But I grew up playing local hockey there, and I was never the best kid either. I didn't make the AAA team all the time. I was not the superstar player, and there wasn't much exposure either. But it's funny how a good work ethic and a good attitude and how far that can take you. And that's kind of what I always tell everybody, because, obviously school's important and it always came first, and it did for me too. But, no matter what you're doing, for anybody, Franco and all the other kids out there who are in the fight of their lives, hard work and a good attitude can take you really far. Franco, I commend you for wanting to give back, having gone through what you just went through. It's incredible. Keep going forward, man. I think there's big things ahead for you, and I'm just really thrilled to see, your great attitude that you've carried through to this point. And also, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say, Megan, a lot of things that, all the great joy and energy and enthusiasm and experiences you bring for these kids. It's infectious, and it's certainly, it got a hold of me, and I think you should know that so much of this is because of your energy for this cause and causes like it, and I think you should be commended for that. And you're an incredible person for doing all that too.
Yeah, I echo George's sentiments for sure. It's amazing the work you guys put in, Jamey, Megan, certainly, and all the stuff you do, and guys like Franco, and just love the courage that you show. And I think Taylor nailed it when he talked about just how inspiring it is for guys like us. It's fun for us just to get together and play games, and if we're helping out a little bit, that's great. But man, I can't imagine what you went through. It's so great to know you're over a year in remission now, or along those lines. And what I find great, Megan, you touched on the hockey community, is it's amazing. All the guys I played against in the National Hockey League, and it still surprises me, like guys that I battled I couldn't stand, I've become great friends with, because you find out you're a lot alike, and they're so giving, and it's amazing. And guys that, when George and I played, there was a little more intimidation, and we had to fight once in a while, And these are the same guys that I just never imagined I'd become good friends with along the way, and a lot because, you know, inspiring stories like yours and being able to for all of us to get together and have some fun, but for a great cause and help out when we can.
So the Garden of Dreams, they called Frankie, and they invited us, and they gave us an entire box to go, and they said, can Franco drop the puck? That was a really awesome experience. I mean, that was definitely something none of us will ever forget. How cool was that?
I was like, for right now, that was the best moment of my life. It was so like loud on the arena that when I stepped on the ice, I actually yelled. But no one could see it because my mask was on.
Adam Graves, he was one of the first videos that sent to Franco, and when he found out that he was a Garden of Dreams kid, they chose him. He said he drove from Canada to come to Madison Square Garden to meet him. Mm-hmm. So we're in the suite hanging out, and who comes through the door? Adam Graves. It's pretty awesome. And Kreider, he was the one that came over and took the face off. He was the one that sent a message to Franco as well. So it's pretty cool that, you know, he actually had to meet him, shake his hand.
It's silver lining to have the support of the entire New York Rangers organization. Maybe one day you'll be playing at the Garden.
Yeah.
Right?
Incredible. Keep up that incredible spirit and attitude, and God bless you. And anytime you guys need me and us, I'm sure in general, we're there, because it's real fulfilling for us, certainly inside, to see the courage that you've shown along the way as well. But it's great catching up with everybody. A lot of fun.
Congratulations. You're inspiring us. I hope we can share the ice sooner than later, and we get to meet in person sooner than later. And Megan, again, thanks so much for putting this together, and it's the least we can do.
Hopefully we can all see each other in person at some point at one of our events, whether it's Franco's, or we get the Face Off to Fight Cancer, or we get to the Jam Cancer. Jamey has quite a bit of NHL ambassadors going there, so maybe we can do something on the East Coast.
Anytime you need a freewheeling, unaccountable defenseman, Franco.
So definitely have to get you out to one of his tournaments at some point. You guys can.
I'd love it.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Franco, I think that, you know, you have obviously not just the people on the call, but so many others that are thinking of you and pulling for you.
Thank you to Franco. Keep paying it forward.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck with your team, Franco, as well.